From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino. We're on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course, kicking off week 6. And it's actually cloudy out this morning. Beautiful temperature-wise, but we've had such glistening mornings here that it's almost noteworthy that it's imperfect.
Yeah, when I got up, I thought, no sun, come on.
Yeah.
A little bit overcast.
We even had rain
Yeah,
in my neighborhood.
Well, I was watching the weather on TV before I left, and they were saying, a little rain down in Albany and whatnot. I was dry by my place in Baltimore Spa, and it seems like our lawn here is bone dry as well. So I don't know if there was any rain up here overnight.
That's why I often ask you, because Seth and I live in different counties. I'm like, well, how'd you guys do? Because if you've grown up or spent any significant time in the Capital District, you would know that Albany and Saratoga don't necessarily have to share the same weather pattern. I think that was the case today. We'll see how it goes. Are we still holding on 5 off the turfers? It's some amazingly low number. That's okay. I mean, I can look it up at the break, but it's a low number. I mean, I can't think of too many.
I think that's what it was, and there wasn't any.
No, marching on.
Yeah,
it's amazing. A couple quick notes, just on life. We had obviously the Arlington Million Day at Churchill Downs. That was a little rough watching, but I was home yesterday doing the work, and I was watching the network. Colonial Downs, which is running during the day this year, that looked magnificent. They should have run the Arlington. I mean, I know they're not going to do it for obvious reasons, but boy, the grass racing at Colonial, they've been underway for a while. It looked like opening day, and you know what else it looked like? It looked like the old pool table at Hollywood Park. I mean, just a felt right down the line, and I have to confess, personally, selfishly, I used to like when Colonial ran at night because it was a little easier to get my attention. But I was watching it yesterday on the network, and I was like, that was a stunning turf course. But they opened up, about a week after us?
Yeah,
so they've been underway
right.
about a month. So they've been running about a month. And I have to tell you, take a look at it. Was perfection. The other thing I also wanted to point out, and why don't you look like you have some stats there, so why don't you run down them, and then I'll talk about something.
Well, since you brought up Colonial Downs, I'll also toss American Racing has done very well this summer. Emerald Downs, I think it was the Emerald Mile the other day they ran, but they had their second highest handle total. I say American Racing, I was going to toss out Assiniboia, the small track in Canada that has attracted attention. I think there's some contests going on and whatnot. Yeah. And that's a nighttime track.
I told you, I love them. They I don't think it's a radical idea, but all the silks match the Saddle Club. There are no owners' silks, and I know that might seem like a radical idea for what we're used to, but I think when you talk about people going to the racetrack, that makes more sense. They're used to team sports and uniforms. Owners' silks makes no sense to the entry-level person. And I thought it was great when I watched it later, because they're on, not only are they night racing, they are late night racing.
West Coast of Canada. But they've done very well, and Colonial, as you mentioned. So Del Mar is having a really nice meet up here at Saratoga as well. So the summer for North American racing has gone very, very well over the past couple of months. So heads up there, and congratulations everybody involved. On the human side up here, Irod Ortiz, 35 wins. He's 7 ahead of Joel Rosario at 28. Luis Saez with 26. Flavian Prat, 20. Javier Castellano with 19. On the trainer side of things, a 7-win lead for Chad Brown over Todd Pletcher, 27-20. And then you go down to a tie in third. Bill Mott and Mike Maker each with 10, and Christophe Clement with 9 so far at the meet. Favorites, 34%, just under 35% winning favorites so far at the meet. And going back to the weekend attendance continued very robust on Sunday, over 26, almost 27,000 announced attendance on Sunday. So a good day again on Sunday as well, with gorgeous weather.
I mean, it is the two things. I mean, Mother Nature always plays an important role in what we do up here, and the meeting up with the idea that people are really trying to get back to whatever 2019 used to be like. So it was a great combination of those two things. One thing that I want to point out, and kudos to David Aragona on Twitter, because it's something that really hits me. I mean, the two things that hit me in the wheelhouse at the track set is the teletimer and return on investment. They're just, and David had posted the jockey's ROI, and we've talked about that, where Javier is up around 330, which is unconscionable, and Irad is about $140. Matter of fact, I didn't double check it, but David's stats that he put out wrapping up the 5th week, Irad had gone down on his ROI from the last time I did on Racing Across America. But one thing I want to give it a third dimension look to stats, and there's very few people who love statistics more than me. Usually I don't favor entry-level statistics, but a little depth to it really whets my appetite. But just to give you one thing for Irad, and I said this before about his anemic ROI, that has nothing to do with him. That's we, the betting public, who recognize he's on a lot of live horses. But to show you the talent, you just go to Sunday's 7th race, Out of Sight. Now, as a handicapper and as a bettor, Irad Ortiz doesn't know me from Adam. So the next thing he's about to say is like, it's my dime, I get to say. He was magnificent, and I've said this, the beginning of the race is far more important than the end, where he was willing to lose position, which is usually awful in turf racing, because he wanted the hedge. He took the hedge. Now, this is a horse that's, a $13 horse, so without him, it's probably an $18 or $20 horse. He wants a position, the right position, in my opinion, with the rails down last week. Loses about 3 positions with horses, tucks in where he wants, stays there for about 6 furlongs, and then tips out, and he looks like he wins like in the 5 path. But as the race was unfurling, I was just watching going, that's someone who's dialed in. Not just because he's winning it, his ROI is $1.40, but I was watching it going, he completely knows what's going on here. And usually losing position, you're throwing spitballs at the TV. Don't ever give up position. But he made the decision, in my opinion. He might just say, no, Anthony, he might have been thinking something else. But he got the hedge, and he took the hedge around the first turn, the back stretch, into the far turn. And then, now I got to get out. He had a good horse, and Out of Sight paid 13 and change. So, but just take a look at it, and that to me is an example of why do they win so many races? Well, yes, they do sit on more live horses, which is a opinion that Richard Migliori is consistently letting the audience know on the Fox broadcast, that if you're sitting on the 7th most live horse, it's tough to win races. Now, Irad doesn't usually sit on horses outside the top 3, but they still have to get it done. And by getting it done is how they got the mounts on the top 3. But go take a look at Out of Sight on Sunday, and that's where you'll see, a top flight jockey not on a 2 to 5 shot, really helping a horse and the better at $13 to the winner's circle.
Help me. 5 for 10 on Sunday, and the $13 horse made a nice ROI on the day. And if you checked out the
I think I missed just bidding the first 24 days by like $6.
I'm $6 down. I am.
Brazilian Era was I ended up running 3rd with my 10 to 1 shot in the finale. I'm like, I could finish in the black for the first 24 days, but What was it wasn't the chalk, but it was $10. So
I'm $6 down after today from the break-even point. 74 winners on top. So I'm feeling pretty good going into the last 3 weeks, and I'm always aiming for 120, average 3 a day, and see if we can get that done. But again, we put some plays in the Times Union.
What
as
usually
well.
wins? That seems like a very high number, and that's your goal.
Shapazian, I think last year was up over 130.
Okay,
and
so
he's blasting in that direction. He went 8 for 10 the other day. Shapazian, about a week ago.
I know we've talked about it before. Well, the guy in San Diego once had the perfect day or something. 8 for 10.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine
crazy
what day it was.
Dude, I'd have to look it up now.
Wow.
I tweeted it out and congratulated him.
Absolutely.
It was a crazy day. And he's very, very good in the Saratoga special. And I've tried to get him here. I can't get him here. He's camera shy. He comes down with Bick, and the morning I did the big radio show, I had him over there, and he'll go on with Bick every once in a while.
Seth, I couldn't guess. I'm up to August 5th now, and I couldn't guess what day any public handicap. August 5th.
It was certainly within the last week and a half. I would say maybe the last week, but it was maybe a week and a half.
That's tremendous. If you can't find out what day it was,
I'll look it because
there's no
like I said, I
day
tweeted it up, so I'll just scroll down my Twitter.
Well, all right. My guess now is August 10th is my guess, but still, it's tremendous.
That would have been 8 for 10. Good God.
My guess is he lost the jump.
Because
it was like an $18. But I'm guessing August 10th.
I'll have to go with. But yeah, so that's where we are. And again, I was about to say picks in the Times Union. If you look at our little matrix in the Times Union, I put out some plays every day as well. The Sunday plays were okay. Early pick 4 for 252 or 262, and the late try for 180. So, and there were a couple of good days last week. So, no telling if that will continue. But if you looked at the plays and kind of followed,
so you went for Momon.
I had him in the.
And I heard people talking. I think it was what I thought. The Museum.
I had that one obviously in the mix. Yeah. No
and I'd be interested with David Aragon. He had kind of foreshadowed about 2-year-olds, but Chocolate Gelato, who was less than good at 1 to 2 on debut, more than made up for it in the second race as she just ran them off their feet. What was hinted at there may be some firsters that could run. Well, they were running behind Chocolate Gelato, who looked completely different than debut.
Experience counts.
I believe that wholeheartedly. And also, Big Invasion was, dynamic as a turf sprinter.
That horse is a monster. That horse is a monster.
You can't possibly skip the Breeders' Cup Sprint turf, can you? I know it's a 3-year-old, but you have to. It's too good.
Just insane. Yeah, top of the stretch. I had him on top in the picks, but in pick 4s and whatnot, I had taken. I had a couple of shots against it, and I had the speedster that led to the top of the stretch, and I thought, maybe the price. And if you get past Big Invasion, the pick is going to blow up. But then I realized, that was futile. I mean, I used Big Invasion, so I wound up.
Now the question:
pick,
did you use Big Invasion in a defensive position?
I would say yes.
Okay, because I don't understand that. I just know to say that. But
that isn't my mindset either. But essentially, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I hit the pick, but it wasn't.
I haven't done a lot of study, but I'm thinking his running style for being this good is atypical of turf sprinters. Aren't usually the turf sprinters that are really good? We had Lady Shipman. She was one of the first ones that was good. Who was that? Was it World of Appeal?
A
couple of years
the
ago.
Michael Dubb runner.
Yeah, don't they usually show good early speed, etc.? So Big Invasion a little bit different. Ready for the play of the day? Anything
yes.
else?
Yeah. No.
All right, the DePaula play of the day up next.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Silverado, just $3.99 a month. Yes, $3.99 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
We start week 6 of the Saratoga season, the big wind down, Alabama week, Travers week, closing week, and we're still looking for our first DePaula Play of the Day win. Got the 4 seconds. That's not going to get us to a positive ROI by the end of the month, by the end of the meet. Let's take a look at the 10th race today, and of course there's a threat of weather. So I actually have a funny scenario in the 35,000 non-winners at 2 lifetime nightcap. If it stays on the grass, we like Brittany Russell. Dixie Cannon, 8-1. She's taking over, and I think from Kelly Rubley. And I think if this one is ready and Russell is terrific off layoffs, Dixie Cannon can win here, 8-1. Now, the funny thing is, if it comes off the grass, we still like Brittany Russell. She's got another horse, Fun While It Lasted, the 7, who is 9-2. So we like Brittany Russell, whether it's on the turf or comes off. The DePaula Play of the Day, race 10. On the turf, it's the 4, Dixie Cannon at 8-1. If it comes off the turf, it's the 7, Fun While It Lasted. And the meet, of course, will be Fun While It Lasts, the DePaula Play of the Day. Good luck, everybody.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, celebrate with savings. Drive Equinox, just $259 a month. Yes, $259 a month.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
2.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I'm Anthony Mormino on a very pleasant day, maybe not as great as the perfection we've been living with for the vast majority. 24 days in the book. And I always hinted at, we were talking about it. You know, if you're from a certain generation,
we're
24
done.
is a magic number at this racetrack. Up until 1991, that was, through 1990, that was the magic number. So I think my partner here is in the black guaranteed for the jumps, right?
Yeah.
And I'm chasing it. And I might have fun with it, and I might not have much to say about it, but it is serious business for me to finish in the black, and I got to get one home. Well, I tease once in a while about how some of the stakes races names and the race that they are might not make a lot of sense, but this one is as easy as can be. The grade 1, Jonathan Shepard, 2 3/8 mile, the old New York Turf Riders, right?
Which it perfectly makes sense that it is now renamed, because the New York Turf Riders is kind of dissipated enough that became maybe a little bit of an anachronism. There certainly are New York Turf Riders still, but as an organization and whatnot, so to rename it to Jonathan Shepard,
right.
Again, the Hall of Fame trainer, and on the jump side, he actually won this just a couple of years ago, 2019 with Winston.
It is
C.
probably the only grade 1 on the NYRA circuit that I do not have an Excel spreadsheet. But if I guessed, has he won at least 15 of them?
I'd have to go look, but as I say, Winston C. I mean, it was recent. Back in 2019, he won it with Winston C.
Over 15 is kind of high, but I'd say he's won. I've been following it closely
maybe?
for 47.
7 sounds like
Okay,
you could be
all
in
right.
the ballpark.
Because I've been following pretty closely for 40 years. I would have thought he won like every 4th year for 10 of them.
I'll pull it up.
But the Jonathan Shepard. So, and I know you have he's such a nice man. I hope he's here to give out the award.
I'm going to take a little bit of a shot in here.
Yeah, you're in the black. What does it matter?
Yeah, I went 1, 6, 7, and 2. I put Down Royal on top. Just a fun story with Kate and Bernie Dalton winning the AP Smithwick earlier. They bred, a New York horse they bred, and it was fun to see him in the winner's circle. And they shipped back home. Now they're coming back. But gets 143, a feathery in this situation, 143, as compared to Snap Decision at 164. Snap Decision, they didn't come to the Smithwick because Jack Fisher didn't want to take the chance on the weights and then being heavily weighted more here. So instead they went in a flat stake race at Colonial, and he ran an 89 buyer figure. which went back to match Beyer figures when he was much younger, running on the flat. I mean, it was a very nice effort. I think sets him up very well for today. He is clearly the one to beat. But I looked at that 20-pound difference, and I thought, coming off the Smithwick, and the Smithwick, I'm not always enamored with the Smithwick Shepherd, or formerly New York Turf Fighters double. It's hard to do. But I'm going to take, again, a little bit of a shot in here and go for Down Royal with the 143 versus the 164. Third spot, I'll take a look at Chief Justice, who was just behind Down Royal in the AP Smithwick. But I'm going to look for the lady to beat the boys in here. Down Royal on top for me, 1, 6, 7, and 2.
Do you want to take another guess at how many he's won?
14.
Very close. 15. So just about every other year that I've been following this, which makes a lot of sense. And I was also trying to find out, according to Naira, I might be in a bad position. I will admit here, I am trying so desperately to get in the black for the jump racing. I whipped down to snap decision here, but Lonesome Glory carried 166 to victory, and a horse who Jonathan Shepard had for D. Hubbard, who owned Hollywood Park for a while, Mystico, 168. Warm Spell, 161. Flatterer was probably the first jumper I ever heard of in the early 80s. Carried 164. So I'm trying to get into the black. I think I had Down Royal, so that was like $13. I don't know how many there's going to be. It's usually about 8 of them. So snap decision for Jack Fisher. I was, thinking out loud earlier, had how many horses he had run. This will be his third runner in here. I think that's pretty impressive to get an 89 Beyer speed figure on the flat. So 614 in the Shepherd for me.
Race number 2 on Wednesday afternoon. Plain vanilla claimers at the $16,000 level. 3/4 of a mile is the distance.
316 for me, and welcome back to racing. David Jacobson, 1-2 shot right off the bat. Hello, but I'm going for winning drive here with Rudy Rodriguez first off the claim for 12.5, and it's going to be tough sledding. I mean, we're 1 for 50 for Rudy, but it was a stakes win, so hoping that softens the thing. And maybe I'm just hoping. And once again, the price is conducive. I mean, I'm looking for 6-7-1. I don't want a 3-1 shot. I want, Rudy's barn has been cold, except for the good victory the other day. So I'm taking winning drive for the upset here. These are the types of races that I termed, I call it the Mount Everest race. You have, one horse really sticks out to get past. For me, for price horses, that's easier than deep races with 2 or 3 horses, all at about 2-1. So Greeley and Ben is my second pick. Moves into the barn of David Jacobson. Blinkers on. We had David Gretting in about 3 weeks ago. Talked about David coming back from a serious health issue. And for third, number 6 at a big price, Manifest Destiny, 3-1-6 in the second, which you always like to point out, kicks off the early pick 5 on jump day.
Yeah, that's a great point. Second race kicks off the early pick 5. The third race kicks off the pick 4 when there are the jumpers. I have it 1, 4, 2, and 3. And yeah, you mentioned it. David Jacobson. I looked it up on Equibase, over 1,200 career victories, but hasn't been training since 2018. And I would say, fun story of wins first time back. That's kind of a heavy lift. And
Absolutely.
I just think this horse has an edge on this one. I looked, and because of that, I thought, but I just, again, couldn't get past this one. I think the horse legitimately does have an edge, and so he may score first time back off a layoff since 2018. Greeley and Ben on top. Second spot, Quick Return. Moves up a little bit off the claim, but the race is just past that down the page or a little bit better. So I think is a solid fit in here off the win last time against Lesser. So I think Quick Return is very dangerous. Oh Trouble goes out for 10 Strike Racing, Marshall Graham and Company. Off a nice win against a little bit lesser as well, and should be a solid player in here. I think, this is a fairly competitive field, but if you go by the buyers, Greeley and Ben probably does have the edge. Will David Jacobson win, first time back? We'll see. But I have it 1, 4, 2, and 3.
On to the third. 3 rolls it up. Phillies and Maris in for 16. Non-winners at 2 lifetime. Going 6.5.
6, 7, 3, and 2 for me. I put Mama's Got a Run on top. in a race where, boy, I wasn't really enamored with anybody. To me, the top two kind of stand out in here, unless you look at Perfect Provision as a horse who may wake up on the drop. That one could also be considered, particularly with Irad on board. But Mama's Got to Run just got the slight edge for me off the claim, a little bit of a drop, moving to the Brad Cox barn. There are, on the drop off the claim, there are mixed messages here. But again, I wasn't really enamored with anybody, so a tepid nod to Mama's Got to Run. Backed by Gold comes off a couple of good efforts that kind of signal this one's a player. Good second last time against a little bit better. And then Perfect Provision, as I say, coming up for Safi from Gulfstream. Dirt races down the page aren't quite as good as the turf races and at least one of the synthetic races. That all may be mitigated by the class drop here, and as I say, Irad on board. So again, I'm not enamored with this race, but I have it 6, 7, 3, and 2.
I'm 6, 3, 7 here, and the interesting thing about Mama's Got to Run. First off, the claim for Brad Cox. Brad Cox has 5 listed victories. I think 3 of them were like in the first 2 days.
That may be.
And one of them was this angle that we talked about the morning, where at that time he was 2 for 7, I think. First off the claim, and he had that horse he claimed he won, and now he's first off the claim winning at 3 for 8, which is 37.5%. So I'm taking Mama's Got to Run. For second, Perfect Provision. Tell you what used to be, came and went, the Capital B claiming races in New York. They've sort of gone the way of the Dodo Bird, but the second start off of the victory, and as Seth mentioned, dropping down dollar-wise considerably for Safi Joseph. A third, Backed by Gold, a central banker, 4-year-old. Greg DePrima having a tough 1 for 55 year, which is a big hurdle to get off. And I must say that if the barn was going better, I might have rated this horse better. But 6, 3, 7, really on the short angle that, I know it's not thrilling, but you want to go to Brad Cox, who obviously trains some of the finest horses in North America. You're like, you play the claiming game in a really funny way. I mean, you don't really play it, but what makes you stick out? I think, what did you say last time you found out he claimed it for an owner that was going to be present or something? You had a little story.
I think it was a local owner.
A local owner or something, and got the W.
Yeah.
So, dropping in again. Take a quick break. When we come back, more live from Saratoga.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to capitalotbbet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or FiOS Channel 467, and win more with Capital OTB.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on Wednesday morning. Seth, Merrow, and Anthony Mormino live from Saratoga Race Course, our Clare Court setup. And as always, after the first break, it's the Dark Horse play of the day. The smart bet is always the Dark Horse, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile, 445 Broadway, downtown Saratoga. In contact with the Dark Horse people during the meeting. They have been appreciative of the traffic they've gotten, and folks kind of coming in and saying they saw him on the show. So we appreciate that. As we'll see, last week's dark horse plays at one scratch, and then there were 4 that didn't hit the board, and 2 of them I kind of really liked. And so I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't.
There is no way that is your tie.
They didn't. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. I mean, this is a possibility.
With the golfer on it? I don't see you reaching for that on the rack.
I don't know.
The color scheme is all you. But I'm looking at it, I go, that's a golfer swinging a golf club. That is not. You think so?
I don't remember. I don't. I'm not. I can't vouch one way or the other.
The coloring, you're right. That's all you. The coloring is all
it's pretty. It gets subtle. So, but again, dark horse play today. Excuse me, and we'll see if we can get something going this week. Because as I say, 2 of them last week I really felt pretty good about, and they ran okay and worth watching maybe going forward. But today in the 5th race, I'm going to take a little shot with Socially Selective, the number 1 horse. I'm not sure this is a 2-year-old maiden special race that's going to produce any superstars, potentially, I suppose, but it doesn't have the look to that of me looking up some of the breeding and whatnot. But I think it's an interesting and kind of competitive race. Bill Mott, I looked up, 2-year-old first-time starters sprinting on the dirt up at Saratoga over the last few years. The numbers may be a little slim, but that's going to lead us into, the 8-to-1 morning line price that may live up to. Spikester, very good with first-time starters. 54 of them this year, 8 wins, 8 seconds, 3/3, so the sire can get it done. Dam has produced some nice win early siblings. A sibling called Dedicated won in the second start. Same for a sibling called Cake Baby. Same for a sibling called Initiative. That one went on to win 10 of 30. So I thought there was some nice, win early top and bottom on the breeding. Steady string of workouts. It's an interesting field where I could make some cases for a couple others in here, but at the 8-to-1, I'm not thrilled about the inside post position for a 2-year-old first-time starter. That's the one knock that almost made me shy away from this horse, and we'll have an idea by the time they run the first furlong if that's going to, work against me or not. If the horses can come out of the gate and get into a live competitive position after the first furlong, yes. If the horse kind of gets squeezed back, then it may be done before we get started. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. First-time starter at an 8-to-1 morning line price. The dark horse play of the day for Wednesday. Race 5, number 1, Socially Selective. Brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile, 445 Broadway, downtown Saratoga. Don't forget to visit their store up the street as well, Impressions of Saratoga. All right. Top of the page for race number 4, I have written puzzle/inconsistent bunch. So this one's a little bit of a head scratcher, I thought. Conditional claimers going 1 1/16 on the grass. How did you see race 4?
Well, I would have added, I can't see how the race is going to unfold. I mean, I might have made a mistake, because if I was ever going Miss Invincible from the outside with Mike Luzzi, who's 20-1 in the last race, showed some early interest, but short of, and that's the outside. I mean, how's this race going to unfold? And when it's that perplexing, as I said, I tend to want to not choose the chalk particularly. I am 4-7-5, and just really, I took a simple way out for me, and that is Tales of McKenna, the number 4 horse, making the second start of the year, came back in allowance condition, and now is in for the $35,000 for Linda Rice, who claimed this horse last October from George Weaver at 40. Jose Lescano is having a good meet, in the double digit with wins. He's had a couple of strong days. And Tales of McKenna in a race that not only do I find very competitive on paper, I'm not so sure how it's going to be run around the racetrack. For second, it's been a long time, but I think it was the French currency. Was it a French franc? I would think so. I mean, it's been been the euro for so long now, but the French were francs also, right? Yeah. So French franc, going back to old currency. Mark Cassie's runner makes his second start at Saratoga after showing nothing in a starter allowance at nearly 25-1 in July. And for third, number 5, Kemba, Ray Handel sends out this runner in good form, 4-7-5, in what I think is a wide open horse race.
I would say Kemba stands the chance of taking him into the first turn.
Okay.
That would be my guess. 6'5", 6-7, 5-4. 6-7, 5-4 for me. I will say, again, I have the 4 down in the 4 spot. Your 4 scares me because it's that class move I like quite a bit. State bred allowance into an open claimer. Had a little trouble in the seasonal debut. So I debated moving Tails to McKenna up, but I thought the others may be a little more interesting. Why not? My man Mike Deeney with I'm Buzzy. Put that one on top off a good effort down at Monmouth last time. Comes up here again off some nice improving numbers over the past few starts going back to Tampa. I just thought this horse may be set up to run well today. Javier Castellano on board, who of course is having that very good meet. French Frank broke the maiden for a $35,000 tag. They got ambitious last time. They're getting back to a more proper level. And Kemba, who's been bouncing around this type of level the past few starts, ran 4th on the move to Saratoga, but had 3 bridesmaid finishes just before that I think bode well for this afternoon. So again, for me, your 4 scares me, but I have it 6, 7, 5, and 4.
Kemba Walker, he played in that 6 overtime game, right, against the Qs? Was he UConn star player
I don't remember
night?
Their lineup.
Okay, all right. On to the 5th race. 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weights, going 6, all but 1, a firster.
1, 5, 2, 8, and I thought the 6 was also very interesting. The other mod horse I mentioned during the play of the day, socially selective, on top for me at the 8-1. All the reasons I just went through with the breeding top and bottom that I think says win early. And on the breeding, maybe the most interesting of this group, but there are some other things. Mija, I'm going Mija, I think is probably right. Has a little bit of breeding there. The sibling Alejandro took 8 starts to win, but in those 8 starts had 6 in the money finishes. So, it's Todd Pletcher, a little bit of breeding, some pretty good workouts. That may wind up being the horse to beat. Implicated by Connect from Chad Brown. Chad Brown can have him ready. Connect is kind of a sneaky win early type of sire, so I think this one may be live. Justifying is the morning line favorite, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
you're right.
I looked that one up, and it's Steve Asmussen, and I think there may be some things to like, but the siblings didn't show a whole lot, so I was a little bit leery there. Padma, as I say, there's maybe a little bit of intriguing breeding, and it's the other Belmont runner, but for me, in the 5th, 1, 5, 2, and 8.
A couple things you can see my selection. Padma, you might think distance to ground in the future. Seems to be predicated to really like that. And Rachel's Valentine, I think, was the second and final foal from Rachel Alexandra. Right? Jess's
right.
Dream and what she run twice. I think she won the spin-away and then was retired, but just a couple starts. Both of her foals had minimal races, very minimal in there. I am 8-7. Justifying, Seth mentioned the siblings. I like the works coming out, especially a couple back, just breezing out of the gate, and now the offspring of Justified debuts. And going 6 on the outside, you hope, they don't take the right-hand turn coming out of the gate, but I like a 2-year-old to be out there with Joel Rosario. Justifying, for me, my top pick. For second, number 2, Implicated, goes out for Chad Brown. And for third, number 7, the veteran in the group with 1 start for Linda Rice under the belt, Binsky, offspring of Curlin, maybe just a warm-up on debut. 8-7 in the 5th.
Race number 6 is an optional claimer, non-winners of one other than a mile on the grass. And at the top of the page, I have written wide open. So I'm interested to see where you go.
I thought I misread the form because it says entered from main track only, starting with number 10. And I was thinking,
what are there, 7 main track?
Right, but I was thinking number 13 would want to be in the turf race.
Oh, well.
I was shocked that, if you have the form or whatever service you use for PPs, boy, I was like, it doesn't say Malibu SS is entered, and as Seth mentioned, there's 7 MTOs, but I was thinking the 13, but no. So I'm 8-6, as you can see there, and the 8 goes out for Chad Brown. First start since May, listed as first-time gelding, 1 on debut at Tampa, and then I thought raced well against winners coming up to Belmont. Makes the first start since early May. Flavian Prat, who was brilliant the other day, beating me when he just shot right through. I thought I had a winner on the outside. Not to be. For second, Mo Rewards, number 2. Also making the third career start, the offspring of Uncle Mo goes out of Rudy's Barn. Won on debut. That was last Labor Day weekend at Saratoga. Was laid off until this Saratoga meet, and I thought raced very well in the turf debut in one of those rarely run 9 furlongs on the inner turf. And for third, number 6, Analogy, Todd Pletcher's runner. Last race, interesting things going on there, but previous to that, very sharp. Irad gets the mount. I think we'd be fortuitous to receive 4-1, 8-2-6.
I have a 2, 3, 6, and 8. I could have flipped those around and gone in your direction. I can point to 3 others that I would have equal confidence with, but I want Mo Rewards. Just on the fact this horse, interesting as a debut winner up here at Saratoga last year, sprinting on the dirt. Then they came back off the layoff from last Saratoga to this Saratoga and stretched out on the turf. Ran decently. So first time 2 turns, first time this season, first time turf. I think benefits from all of those and maybe runs very well this afternoon. Seal Beach is interesting to me off the 2 sprints and now stretches out today. Trying the turf for the first time. It's Mike Maker going a couple turns on the turf up here at Saratoga, and this year that seems to be a good angle. And again, I like that stretch out after the 2 sprints. Could be intriguing at potentially a little bit of a price. An Analogy in the 3rd spot. Just gonna, you hope that the trouble was the reason, and given the first heat, you'd have to think that's probably true. So I'm going to draw a line through the last and look for a much improved performance today in the 6th. 2, 3, 6, and 8.
All right, we're up to our second break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott Vartley and I'm here at the West Condominiums in Saratoga Springs. And guess what? We are down to the home stretch. Everything is 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Come make a selection of one of the greatest condos ever to be built in Saratoga Springs. We're starting in the upper 5s and the only rooftop penthouse available now under construction. Wow, just look at this patio. We have a rooftop pool, heated garage, balconies, and a gym. Call me at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, live from Clare Court on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course.
Lots of activity back here today, too.
It's nice to see. So it's
and the
sights,
sun has now come out.
Yes, well, there's a surprise, boy. That's being upset when it doesn't. 7th race on the card, 2-year-old fillies made the special weights, going 6.
4, 6, 2, and 5. Thought the 8 was a little bit intriguing as well. The run happy firster from Tom Morley, but I put O'Donna on top. Buchero. As a sire, maybe one of those that's going to go a little bit under the radar, but as a sire so far this year, and these stats are like a week or so old, but 10 first-time starters this year, 2 wins, 5 seconds, and a third. So 7 exactas in 10 starts for the sire. This one worked 10.1 before the Ocala sale earlier this year. A couple of siblings were win early type. Lane's Knight won in the 2nd start. Valiant Virtue, a couple of thirds, followed up by a win. So I thought there was a lot of win early here. And As I say, a sire that may sneak away a little bit. Irod Ortiz elects to jump on board, though. Let's hope we get the 4-1. You Glow Girl, beaten favorite for Brad Cox in debut. Well-beaten favorite. Wasn't quite sure what to make of that exactly, but given that this horse did take some action in debut, I'll hope the experience is beneficial. And then Red Hot Chick, New York bred, facing some open company in here in the debut. There was a sibling called Princess Arentz, if I'm pronouncing that right. Fifth in debut and then won the second start, albeit in Mexico. So wasn't quite sure what to make of that, but there was a little win early. So in the 7th at Saratoga, 4, 6, 2, and 5.
We've had a couple of second-time starters, Bourbon Bash and Chocolate Gelato, the other day when they came back after less than scintillating debut, just backhanded the field. Well, I'm hoping it happens again. I am 6, 7, 8, and You Glow Girl, who did hit the board behind a runaway exacta for Brad Cox on debut. Flavian Prat retains the mount, the offspring of Gervin. Goes out for the second time. It's my top pick, morning line favorite. For second, right next door to the starting gate, Crypto Mama. Kelly Breen's runner-up on debut at Monmouth Park. And for third, I have the firster, the offspring of Run Happy, Javier Castellano, number 8, Happy Warrior. So 6, 7, 8 in the 7th for me.
Race number 8 is a state bred allowance. Non-winners of one other than they will come out of the chute going 1 mile.
2-4-1 for me, Silken Dollar. Rick Schosberg's runner who won the second career start. That was going 7 on the turf at Belmont. Gets back to the dirt for the first time since debut when caught a sloppy track. For second, number 4, Sunset Louise. Second start since the first week of the new year for Bruce Levine, taking on winners for the second time. And for third, number 1, You Guys Are No Fun. Jeremiah Engelhardt's runner shortens up after 1 mile and an 8th try. 2-4-1 in the 8th.
Well, in a 6-horse field, we've got 5 of them covered.
There we go.
And I have the other one in my 4th spot. 6, 1, 5, and 3. Mia Be a Star comes out of a couple of second place finishes. To me, this horse has the edge, a slight edge, but 22 starts over the past couple of seasons and only 2 wins. So maybe a little bit camera shy, and that never attracts my attention, particularly as being one I'm enthusiastic about. But as I said, I just think maybe there's a little bit of an edge there. You Guys Are No Fun in the 2nd spot, going well at the Finger Lakes for Jeremiah Engelhardt, and then came here and ran 4th, well-beaten 4th, and was behind the top pick. But I wonder if the horse doesn't benefit from the seasonal start here at Saratoga and maybe move forward off of that. May appreciate the cutback as well. And then Karamoka in the 3rd spot. Seasonal debut was maybe one that built up a little fitness. We'll hope that's the case, however, because it was a well-beaten 7th. But as I say, we'll hope this one benefits from that and moves forward. In the 8th, 6, 1, 5, and 3.
Feature this afternoon, it's the Stallion Series. This time for the boys, inner turf course, racing 1 mile.
Yeah, and these are all named, but the racing form never gives the name. You had to look at
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I didn't see what there's the Cab Calloway. And
that's this one, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, it'd be the boys, because the other one's the Statue of Liberty, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's it. But you're right. The form never, they always put the Stallion
I'm being told
Series.
in my ear, it's the Cab Calloway? Yes, I'm being told in my ear. So the Cab Calloway, New York Stallion
Which, by the way,
Series.
I would say has been run at different distances and different surfaces more than any other stakes race at Saratoga.
And I
think it's like 5.
I remember seeing Cab Calloway as a regular up here for years and years. 8, 5, 10, and 3. Dakota Gold. I think he makes amends for the upset last time at a chalky price. This is one that is going to get slammed in the pick bets. And if you get another upset, you will balloon up your ticket. But this is a really nice horse for Danny Gargan and Dean Reeves. And as I say, I think he makes amends for the close-up second place finish last time. Marinara Sauced in the 2nd spot. A Chad Brown runner who looked pretty good in the first 2 career starts, and then the last time kind of disappointed running 5th after having dropped back into the more proper non-winners of 1. I think maybe this horse is better than we saw last time and rebounds back to an improved effort. Barrel of Quests in the third slot off a nice try last time, finishing in front of, in fact, Marinara Sauce. And Dave Donk is having a really good meet. I might have moved this one up, but I think the outside post position is going to be a little bit of a drag on this one, perhaps, and maybe Dakota Gold, but I think Dakota Gold, just as I say, better than this group. I have an 8, 5, 10, and 3.
And the race clearly goes through Dakota Gold. I think Marinara Sauce, I think the post position made things more difficult than today's post position could possibly make it for Manny Franco, and I'm looking for the upset. If you go by Buyer Speed Figures, I mean, this horse has to run a career best probably to get the laurels, and that's fine in the fourth career start for a sharp barn. For second, Dakota Gold, the race goes through him. He's the horse to beat. Got beat at 3-10, running a career best. So take that. And for third, Barrel of Quest. I feel like you. I like the horse. I just think outside going the mile on the turf at Saratoga, where the rail, because it's listed as no temporary rail, so it looks like they're going to keep it down, was much better, was so good last week when they dropped the temporary rails down the first time. 5, 8, 10 in the Cab Callaway. Take a quick break. When we come back, the finale.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. Be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in as we kick off another week here at Saratoga with the Handicappers Report. And we'll wrap things up tonight. Again, the typical race 10 post time, 6:13 in the p.m. Conditional claimers, non-winners of 3 lifetime, 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
Just think about it. You think anyone's ever swept the card in New York? That would be news, yes.
I think so. I've been one away up here. I've been one away a few times. Going back a ways, but
one away.
I would think it happened. Yes.
Wow.
Like Russ Harris
swept the card.
Wouldn't Russ Harris have swept the card?
It's just I don't get. I mean, that's one of those things. Like you drop the mic. Like that's it. 7, 6, 8 for me and fun. While one year at the Breeders' Cup, I was in the old days. I was 6 for 7. Archon was the only one that beat me. Beat a lot of people that day.
Yeah, you and everybody
beat a lot of people besides Jerry Bailey's closest friends. But I swept the card that day. I mean, it was 7, 6, 8 for me. Fun while it lasted. Goes out off of a third place beaten favorite off the turf down at Parks. Has hit the board in half of the lifetime turf races. Javier Castellano gets them out. That's live for me at 9-2 for second. Number 6, Cafe Floor, going out for Chad Brown. In for a tag for the first time. Third start since late January. First one was positive. Second one, a little regression. That was going 11 furlongs. Now shortens up to 8.5. And for third, number 8, first time in for a tag for Michelle Hemingway. 7, 6, 8. Now, I would never do this because you know how we send our picks in the day before noon, and I had this in for Michelle Hemingway. I come home last night. My wife is asleep, which she often can be, and she has PBS on. Hemingway.
I like the.
I understand. That's why I throw it out there. I'm not built that way, but I think people.
Did you ask Swept the Card in New York?
Yes.
Or Saratoga? Because in New York, Russ Harris did do it.
You're the best.
May
What do you
8,
like?
1981, swept the 9 races
What
at
do you like,
Belmont Park.
Mozart over there?
Well, I'm on the computer all day long, so I think.
When was that? May what? Just say the date.
May 8, 1981.
9 races.
Swept 9 races at Belmont. 10th at Saratoga for me, 6.54
One
and 10.
thing I hate to say. It only makes sense that the dean of New York.
That's why I said the
Public
first thing that came to my
Handicappers
mind was Russ Harris.
Yeah.
6.54 and 10. The 8 intriguing to me as well, but I'm going to put Cafe Fleur on top on the class relief for Chad Brown. I think this horse is lodged. I will say I went back and forth, and I had this one a little further down the mix. And as I looked, I kind of went back and forth, and I thought, I think on the class relief, this one probably does belong on top, but it's competitive. Go Big Green in the second spot, comes in from out of town for Tommy Amison is playable. Brittany Russell has Dixie Cannon. First start of the year, but I think class-wise might class up nicely with these. But it is off a layoff, so there's a little bit of a question there. Ocean Air, same scenario off the layoff from Michelle Giangiulio. So it's another competitive race. What is a competitive card, I think, overall, except for maybe Dakota Gold. But in the 10th, I have it 6, 5, 4, and 10.
You ever meet Russ Harris?
I never did.
Very nice. Very nice. And one of my favorite things was on Tuesday on Sports Channel, instead of the races, they did a show, Harvey Pack, John Ambrial, and they would have Russ Harris mailbag. He would send questions in there, and it was always great because they had put an envelope up with the address, and the stamp was Russ Harris. So some clever intern or whomever down at, I think the show used to be produced at Hofstra University, I'm not sure, but
Where
the dean.
Sports Channel?
Yeah, well, yeah, Sports Channel was, at the time, had the Mets, the Yankees, thoroughbred action. It had the Islanders, the Nets, and then MSG
That's right, thoroughbred action.
Yeah,
Because I was thinking
that was 6 days a week.
What I most remember, but I remember that now that you mentioned the name, was the Channel 9 Saturday
Well,
show.
sure, the feature and the trifecta. And I'll never forget, it came to our market in '86. Steve Alper was the host that we first saw upstaters, and I remember calling Troy New Channels at the time, calling him and go, whatever I have to do to make sure I never lose this channel on my subscription is what I'd like to do. And that was it. It used to be a 45-minute show.
And then Saturday night, Spencer Ross and
Stan Bergstein. And I was into harness racing then.
I still am. That's really where I started, across the street. I got into it all because of harness racing, then kind of moved over to, but I still liked it.
All right, so you stay. Who do you have for Racing Across America?
Racing Across America, Kevin Cox is in the house. He'll jump in and do some handicapping for this afternoon. And then at about 10:35, we're going to show the Judmont International, which Baid in there. We'll see if he can continue his just phenomenal undefeated record so far. But Mishrif is in there as well, so that'll be about 10:35. And because of that, I put in a tape piece from last year. Still 3 weeks left, and I wanted to pull up the breakfast piece from last year. Just remind folks that the breakfast, we were talking about it during one of the commercial breaks. The trams are going by, they're full of folks, and so we'll toss in the tape piece. But then stay tuned, because 10:40 we'll be joined by my friend Barbara Livingston, who has a great exhibit across the street at the National Museum of Racing. Jim Raftery, Turf Photos Retrospective. She took over a collection for this longtime track photographer at various tracks. She has been putting up pictures on Twitter and whatnot. The exhibit is a lot of fun. This guy chronicled racetracks and history, and
it looks
just
like
a
at
lot
least
of fun.
40 years.
And the number of photos and negatives she says she's going through, incredible. We'll talk to Barbara
and
about
what's
that
tremendous
as
for
well.
her personally is it just about abuts her own personal collection.
Yeah.
So there's very few gaps in Barbara's collection
yeah.
now going back. He stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off week 6.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.